Hi, Misfits. This is Kevin.
And this is Kate.
Welcome to Horrorwood.
I feel like I need to get one giant burp out.
One big old burp.
I was telling Kevin when he got here, I was like, you know how when you take pills, I took my morning pills, mama's morning drugs, and I just feel like they're all lodged right here.
Stuck.
And then Matt said, you know what's great for that? I'm like, what? He's like, pickles.
What?
Because something about the acid
Dissolves?
makes it like get all the gunk out. So he's like, just have some pickles. And so I had a plate of pickles right before you got here.
Oh my gosh.
And not only did it
Didn't help.
not help, but now my breath just smells like pickles.
Oh, God.
So every time I talk, I taste pickles.
Pickles in the morning.
Pickles in the morning is not
Pickles
the vibe.
in the evening. Pickles at summertime. Or
Pickles in the
supper time.
morning, pickles in the evening. Yikes.
Whoa.
We have a lot of exciting things to talk
There's
about
a
here
lot.
at the top.
I love this.
We're doing a live show.
Yes. Friday, October the 25th at Venus Cabaret Theater, 7:30 p.m. Get them tickets, bit.ly/horrorwood.
Woo woo. And forgot what I was gonna say. I'll have to edit this out.
I like your little ghost.
It did sound
voice.
ghostly, didn't it? Speaking of ghostly, that's what I was gonna say. We are charging into October.
It is October this week.
Yeah, tomorrow, as a matter of fact.
Yes, tomorrow.
Technically, today's Sunday.
I know.
And
I'm
Kevin
sorry.
just
And I
gave
was-
me a look, and he was like,
I was like,
"What do you
Kate,
mean,
you
bitch?
forgot
It's
about
not-"
September 30th.
He's like, "You don't know what you're talking about."
Actually, Kate knows a lot of things. I'm sorry. I was going to say a joke, and then I decided not to. I love it. Let's talk business.
Business. We do have some things to talk about. We have some amazing Patronians to shout out.
Oh my God, I love these people.
We have 4 new Misfit Murderinos to give a little shout out to right here at the top, because a couple of them we had already recorded or whatever when they
Yes.
joined. So we're adding them to this. So do you want to go with the first one?
Mark Lamb.
Mark Lamb.
Welcome. Thank you so much for joining the Patreon. We're excited to have you. You're amazing. Follow you on Instagram, which is awesome. And welcome to the fam, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. And next we have Matt Abramson, which I think is the Matt Abramson that I know, but we sent a little video to him and I got no response. So I don't know if it's the right one. But if it is the right one, hey, Matt, thank you so much. If it's not the right one, hey, Matt, thank you so much.
Hey, Matt. Matt Abramson, whichever Matt Abramson you are, welcome.
Thanks.
Drunk Wives Matter.
I am obsessed with this name. I'm wondering if it's a podcast.
Oh, it could
It
very
does
well be. It
sound
does
like
sound
it
like a
would.
great podcast name. Welcome. Thank you for joining. I want your name tattooed on my arm, Drunk Wives Matter, because they do.
They really do. And more people should know that.
Mm-hmm.
And lastly, we have Alice Woodward, who joined right before we hit record. So thank you so much, Alice. We really, really appreciate it. Another fun thing that happened a few days ago is Aaron Truss, who is the director of the documentary Knox, the Rob Knox story that I mentioned in our Rob Knox episode.
Yeah.
And it was like my number one source for when I was
information.
researching.
Mm-hmm.
He listened to it.
Whoa.
And he reached out to us.
Whoa.
And it was amazing. He just said, thank you so much. And he liked what we did with it.
Good.
He felt like it was really respectful.
Good.
And he said on the Instagram message, he was like, hey, I'm the director of the Rob Knox documentary. And of course, employee of the dead. And I was like, yes, I need
So
him to send me a
sweet.
link to Employee of the Dead.
Oh, absolutely.
But even more awesome, they were doing a director's cut screening in London of the documentary on Saturday, this past Saturday. And so he
Okay.
gave us a shout out.
That's
so
amazing.
Thank you so much, Aaron. We really appreciate you and what you do. And getting Rob's story out there. I'm always nervous when I cover someone because you want to make sure that you're being respectful and getting the story out and keeping people engaged. And so that just made me feel so good when he reached out, which was great.
Thank you. Spooky season is coming up. You and I have to plan a haunted house trip.
Yes.
I did find that one in Wrigleyville that we should look at with the cocktails.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's not like the full haunted experience.
Okay.
It's like a smaller version.
Oh,
so I'm on the lookout
Yes.
for some area haunted houses. If you're in the Chicago area and you know of any,
recommend
them. Let us know.
I have a recommendation today. I started listening to a new podcast called Stars of the Golden Age that I think our listeners would really like.
Really?
Yeah, it's all about old Hollywood. The host, her name is Erin Carlson, and she focuses on a different star each week, kind of like we do.
Oh, cool.
But hers are all like focused on old Hollywood, which is really cool. And she's all about the research. We love a research girly.
I mean, get in there.
Get in there.
Learn about it.
Get all up in it. She's got episodes on Cary Grant, Frank Sinatra. A few weeks ago, I listened to her Billy Burke episode because we had just done Olive Thomas.
Absolutely,
and Billy came up in Olive Thomas. And I was like, ooh, let me learn more. And I found out that Florence Ziegfeld used to wash Billy's hair with expensive champagne. Don't be wasting good champagne on hair, honey. That goes in your belly.
Yeah, I know. Wrong part of the body.
I love podcasts that give you like little details like that. So you should check out Stars of the Golden Age, hosted by Erin Carlson on Spotify, Apple, or whatever platform you're listening now.
Listen to podcasts. That sounds amazing. Yeah. I am going to go check that out.
Yeah, it's great. I was also listening to the Grace Kelly episode, and I learned things I did not know about
Grace Kelly. I love old Hollywood. And you and I talk about it a lot, too.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
very cool.
It's really cool. I'm glad that I found out about it and can use it as a resource now,
What's
too.
the name?
Stars of the Golden Age.
Stars of the Golden Age. Okay.
Yeah, it's great. What do you have for us today?
Well. Today we're delving into my top 5 horror movies.
I am so ready for it. It's a great way to kick off.
This is great for spooky
season. Yeah.
Absolutely. These are the top 5 from 2025. 2025.
2025.
Oh my God. Like, remember those tubes you would.
Yeah.
Yeah. Weird.
Oh.
Anywho. Top 5 movies of 2024 thus far. I do want to say there's a few out there I haven't seen. Let's be clear that these are movies that came out this year that I saw, and there are many I haven't yet seen.
Okay.
I did some digging on Reddit. There's some really cool Reddit threads that have films, like recommendations of, like, what are the good horror movies this year?
Yeah.
And I made a list, and I'm working my way through it.
Nice.
Yes. Some of those I'm still waiting to see. And if you've seen them, let me know and what you think of them. But The Coffee Table, The Substance is supposed to be really good.
Oh, that's at the Davis. Speaking of the Davis
shit,
earlier.
I need to get it. It's also playing at Music Box.
Yeah.
So it's everywhere. I need to go see it.
Except
Maybe
Alamo, where we wanted it to be.
What the fuck? A Quiet Place Day One, The Watchers, Maxine, Cuckoo. And then there are a couple coming out later this year. Heretic from A24.
Oh, yeah.
And Nosferatu.
Oh, yeah,
which look amazing. Oh, and yeah, there's one called Infested, which is supposed to be amazing, but it's about giant killer spiders.
Oh, you're probably not going to see that.
I don't know if I can do it.
Yeah.
Because the trailer made me scream.
Oh, no.
Ah,
Don't be liking those spiders.
I can't. So I actually came up with a rubric to, like...
Okay.
This is so ridiculous. I wasn't sure how to rate all these movies because I really liked all 5 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I'm going to create like a rubric based on different elements. I showed it to Spencer, who studied film, and he's like, I don't really know what you mean by this. So
Great.
I don't know. It's just my own thing.
Okay.
So get with it. Or not. I don't care.
Kevin is spicy this morning.
Good morning.
Feeling some zest over there.
Zest, lemons. But I rated them 1 through 10 on a scale that measured atmosphere, gore, jump scares, the story, the execution.
I see what you're doing here. I see it.
Direction, cinematography, production, originality, and performances. Let's start with number 5.
Great.
This movie is called In a Violent Nature.
Oh.
So In a Violent Nature is a Canadian slasher movie written and directed by Chris Nash, who has been known from his work on some horror shorts and directing a segment in the movie ABCs of Death 2.
Okay.
I've only seen ABCs of Death 1.
I have not seen any of the ABCs
It's a
of
bunch
Death.
of like little short segments, horror segments.
Okay.
But it was good. In a Violent Nature stars Rye Barrett, Andrea Pavlovic, Cameron Love, Reese Presley, Liam Leone, and Charlotte Cregan. The movie was produced in association with Low Sky Productions, with distribution help in the U.S. from IFC Films and Shudder.
Okay.
I love Shudder.
I wish I could get Shudder.
Oh, it won't load on
It
Kate's
won't
devices.
load. It's so annoying.
So the movie came out on June 28th in the U.S., but had originally premiered on January 22nd, 2024 at the Sundance Film Festival as part of their midnight program.
Cool.
And it got some really great acclaim at Sundance, which kind of spiraled into like,
Nice.
yeah, people want to see this movie. The plot of the movie, I'm not going to give away spoilers because it's all in the trailer, but a group of friends stumble upon a locket while they're exploring an old fire tower in the woods.
Okay.
And Troy, one of the group, takes the locket and unknowingly triggers the reanimation of Johnny, a corpse buried nearby.
Ooh, I hate when that happens.
I know, me too. Ugh, it happened all the time in West Virginia.
Ugh, I can
Just leave those
imagine.
lockets, people. If you find jewelry hanging on a tree, just leave it
Leave
there.
it there.
Just leave it. Don't touch it. So yeah, Johnny, driven by rage, begins searching for his lost locket.
I like the way you said that, driven by rage.
And of course, he stumbles upon some teenagers in the
Of
woods.
course he does.
And they're all gathered around a campfire where one of them shares like the lore around Johnny's death
Okay.
and like who he was.
And he's just listening like, bitch, that's not my
Yeah,
story.
you can see, it's really funny. You can like see him standing in the background really far away, like listening to
Amazing.
the story. It's very cool. But yeah, it's about, he was apparently like this son of a local merchant and had been tricked into climbing the fire tower and fell off of it and died.
Oh.
And then his vengeful spirit is like, rah, coming around to get everybody.
Yeah, I'd be pissed too.
But he just goes on a rampage, killing, chilling, killing.
Oh, wow.
Having a good time. He looks crazy. But I love what this movie does for the slasher and the woods trope and the subgenre of that horror. We really get it from the perspective of the killer, which is what I found really cool about it, is like, you're not getting any sort of POV from who he's killing.
Yeah.
It's only from his point of view.
That's kind of a cool take.
I know, I love it. And there's some crazy kills. For those who have seen it, I'm not going to spoil it, but I'm just going to say the yoga death. Whoa!
Okay.
Spencer and I saw it at Alamo, and yeah.
My
People
interest
walked
is
out.
piqued.
People walked out.
Really?
Yeah.
Because it was like too violent?
I think so, yeah.
Oh,
there were a couple
wow.
of people, there's a couple of people that left and came back after that death, and then there were some people that just didn't come back.
You said you saw it at Alamo. Did they walk out because of the violence or because the chicken
Because the
tenders
chicken
were
tenders.
cold?
Now that is In a Violent Nature.
Matt got the chicken tenders the other night.
And they were cold.
No, he was like, they were great.
Fuck. What did you see?
Beetlejuice.
Oh, you went to see Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Loved it.
I liked it. It was a little all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
What I
100%.
didn't like is that they placed so much emphasis on the grandfather character. It's like,
Oh, yeah, you did mention that. Yeah.
like keep him out of there. Like we don't need to constantly be reminded that you don't have that actor.
Totally. I think I actually liked it more than the first Beetlejuice.
Interesting. I
Crazy
think Matt said the
times.
same thing.
Yeah, I don't know what is that? Yeah, the gore is no joke in a Violent Nature, and the soundscape is basically like the footsteps of the killer and nature. There's no score that accompanies any of it.
Oh, interesting. That's creepy.
And that was intentional from the director
Yeah,
because he wanted it to be like a blank canvas without trying to influence the audience in any way.
sure.
So the movie grossed over 4.5 million worldwide.
Okay.
In a 2024 interview with Points of Reviews, Chris Nash discussed the extensive reshoot of this film,
Oh.
revealing that approximately 70% of the movie was reshot.
Why?
This was due to several factors, including the need to replace the lead actor, who had a medical emergency early in the production.
No.
And although the killer,
Oh.
the guy who played the killer. And although the actor was fully costumed, subtle differences in physical performance like movement and posture made the change noticeable in the initial cut.
Oh, wow.
So Nash also mentioned a personal reason for the reshoot, his desire to film in Northern Ontario, where he grew up, as the original location lacked the natural atmosphere that he envisioned in the first place.
I see.
So despite budget constraints, Nash was able to return to his hometown, relying on favors from friends and family to complete the production.
Okay.
Only one brief, costly shot from the original shoot was kept in the final film.
Wow.
Yeah.
What
Isn't
a
that
waste
crazy?
of money.
I mean,
sucks.
they filmed this, I think, in 2021, and then it came out in 2024.
Okay.
But this movie is a little divisive when it comes to reviews. It has a 79% tomato meter rating and a 45% popcorn meter rating on Rotten Tomatoes. So tomato meter reader is what critics think of it, and the popcorn is what the audience thinks of it.
Yeah.
So it seems like critics really praise this film, and then the audience, like, it's kind of like you love it or you hate it.
Got it.
Type of thing. Yeah, I can see people getting easily bored through this movie because it is very much a slow burn.
Okay.
And if slow burns aren't your thing,
They aren't your
then
thing, honey.
maybe rethink watching this one, or put it on in the background or something, because it is literally the guy walking through the woods, like,
Okay.
the entire time, but killing as he encounters people.
I see.
I loved it. I thought it was very, very good. Catherine Bray of The Guardian writes, Chris Nash's low-budget slasher qualifies as one of the more interesting formal variations. The weapons are not unusual. Hooks feature prominently. The motivation is fairly standard, a Jason-style past wrongdoing thing, and a fun but not that outlandish of a mask, a vintage firefighter mask. But it's the way in which the movie is filmed that sets it apart. The visual grammar and technique throughout is a complete contrast to almost everything you might expect. So that's In a Violent Nature, and it's currently streaming on AMC Plus and Shudder, or available to rent on Amazon Prime for $3.99.
Cool.
Check it out, y'all.
Check it out.
On to number 4. Any guesses, Kate? I don't know why I was writing like that.
I don't know, because you know horror movies way more. I had never even heard of In a Violent Nature, so I probably haven't heard of the next one.
Well, I think you have, because I've mentioned it a lot.
Oh, okay.
Number 4 on the list is Late Night with the Devil.
Oh, I do want to see this.
Yes, which actually came out in 2023 technically, but didn't get a U.S. release date until this year.
Yeah, I want to see this so bad.
It's so good.
It was at Music Box and I missed it.
Oh, that's where I went to see it.
Nice.
Your face. Nice.
I didn't mean it like, nice, bitch. Thanks for inviting me. I didn't mean it like that.
I know, but I loved, your face kind of was like, good for you.
Nice.
I love it.
Tell us all about
Tell
it.
us everything about it. So I will. It was written, directed, and edited by Australian filmmakers Cameron and Colin Carnes. The movie stars David Dastmalchian, Laura Gordon, Ian Bliss, Faya Sol, Bazzi, Ingrid Torelli, Rise Alteri, Georgina Haig, and Josh Kwong Tart. The movie was finished in 2023 and started making the festival rounds, but again, initially released in the U.S. on March 22nd, 2024.
Okay.
The film was produced by Future Pictures, IFC Films, and Shudder. And since its release, it has grossed a worldwide amount of over $15 million.
Wow.
Considering this is just like a low-budget indie horror,
Yeah.
like it's doing pretty well for itself. Late Night with the Devil is a chilling supernatural horror that's set in the 1970s, centered on Jack Delroy, a once popular talk show host struggling with his career.
Okay.
This movie is very much found footage / mockumentary style, the way that Ghostwatch was, in a way. So Jack hosts a show called Night Owls with Jack Delroy. Ratings aren't good. Things are not good at the TV station. Desperate for a boost, he plans a bold Halloween special on his late night show, featuring paranormal guests, including a magician, a skeptical scientist, and a young girl named Lily, who is supposedly possessed by a demonic spirit.
Oh.
She's accompanied by her companion, June Ross Mitchell, who studies parapsychology and has written a book on her work with Lily.
Okay.
Here we go. Here's the roller coaster.
All right.
As the live broadcasts unfold, crazy shit starts to go down. And there might be a possession. What starts as a stunt for ratings turns into chaos as it becomes seemingly real.
Okay.
With all these supernatural forces going on. Jack and his guests are caught in the battle with evil forces. The live audience, studio, and crew are drawn into the terrifying ordeal. And yeah, it's insane. it all just kind of spirals from there. I don't want to give away anymore.
Yeah,
but
I do want to see it. I'm pretty sure my nieces saw it and liked it.
yeah, it's really good. So describing their decision to base Late Night with the Devil on a late night talk show, writer-director duo Cameron and Colin stated, in the 70s and 80s, there was something slightly dangerous about late night TV. Talk shows in particular were a window into some strange adult world. We thought combining that charged live to air atmosphere with the supernatural could make for a uniquely frightening film experience.
Yeah.
And it did, I agree. In a 2023 interview with The Hollywood Reporter, Cameron gave details on the production schedule, shooting process, and design of the film. Quote, we had 20 days in a studio, essentially one location, on what was basically a 360-degree set. We shot the film like it was a TV show with 3 cameras running the whole time.
Cool.
There was the temptation there to shoot on all old vintage tube cameras, but just with the effects, demands and everything, we ended up shooting digitally. But we shot using 3 cameras running the entire time.
That's cool.
I love it. I saw this with my friend Suze at Music Box in the small theater.
Mm-hmm.
It was a blast.
Nice.
We had a really great time. I loved the 70s feel of it, the late night talk show. I think they nailed that. The acting is fantastic. I love David Dastmalchian.
Yeah, he's a Chicago guy.
Yeah, he's so good in this. The visuals are really stunning. And what I loved about this as well is like, there is sort of a skepticism to everything that's happening, like supernaturally, not only because of the character, but you're also kind of like, so what is real and what isn't, So I loved that. It does jump back between the broadcast and what's going on behind the scenes.
Oh, okay.
Which is really cool. And it goes black and white in those moments, like to show what's happening backstage.
Oh, that's cool.
Very cool. The movie got fairly good reviews. It currently has a 97 tomato meter and 81% popcorn meter on
that's
Rotten
really
Tomatoes. The critics ate this one up.
Yeah.
Amy Nicholson's review for the LA Times, she wrote that the movie is a clever reminder that the entertainment business was built on hocus pocus. The entire industry is an illusion. Actors, dialogue, costumes, sets, editing, even the magic of performers appearing on small screens with a snap like genies summoned to amuse. She goes on to say in her review, this is a pressure cooker film, an exercise in small budget simplicity that leans on one set and one goal. Keep 'em watching. Whatever plot there isn't time to resolve just wafts away. Stephen King got a screener of this movie before it came out and said in a tweet, or X, I don't know what you call a tweet on X.
I don't know.
On March 26, 2023, quote, it's absolutely brilliant. I couldn't take my eyes off it. Your results may vary, as they say, but I urge you to watch it when you can.
I mean, that's pretty high praise
from Stephen
right
King.
there.
Damn. That's awesome. I want to talk quickly about a little controversy around this movie.
Okay.
Which, in the week leading up to the film's release, some reviewers pointed out the use of AI-generated art in a montage, which apparently wasn't in the version they screened at SXSW.
South by Southwest.
South by Southwest, yeah. And called for a boycott of the film.
Interesting.
So in response to the controversy, directors Cameron and Colin Carnes said, quote, in conjunction with our amazing graphics and production design team, all of whom worked tirelessly to give this film the 70s aesthetic we had always imagined, we experimented with AI for 3 still images, which we edited further and ultimately appear as very brief interstitials in the film. I don't have a major opinion on this, really.
Okay.
I know, like, hire people and do your own work and your art. But this is a whole thing coming up now about AI generated stuff. I know people got really pissed about this, but I'm not pressed.
Okay.
So it didn't affect my opinion of the movie.
Got it.
If you're pissed about it, I understand. I get it.
Sure.
But I don't think it's enough to warrant a boycott of this great movie.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. Late Night with the Devil is available to stream on Shudder and AMC Plus, and available to rent or buy on Amazon Prime for $3.99.
Oh, that was a good radio voice.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's move to what am I thinking? I was just last night feeling delirious, and I was like, no, Nummer drei, that's German for number 3.
Wow.
Spencer was doing Duolingo recently for German, and I took German for 2 years. I am no way. If a German person came up to me and started talking, I'd be like, what?
I've never taken German. I was actually just talking about this with my neighbor downstairs because he took a lot of German.
Oh, really?
And he lived in Germany for like a year.
Shit.
But I couldn't tell you one single thing in German. I did Spanish. I took Spanish.
Nice. Yeah. But it made me, I was like doing the Duolingo while he was doing it, and he got pissed off, and he's like, stop it. And I was like, well, I'm going to do it. So I downloaded Duolingo and started doing German again.
That owl will never let you escape.
Never.
You will hear from that owl for the rest of your life. Y'all Duolingo people know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah, so I'm currently competing with Spencer to be who's the better German speaker.
Who's the better German?
Who's the better German? So komm schon, Schlampe. Bring it on, bitch.
Is Schlampe a bitch?
I guess, according to Google Translate.
Oh, okay.
See?
Amazing.
Komm schon, Schlampe. So the third movie you've seen.
Ooh.
And it's Alien Romulus.
I haven't. Wait, did I see that?
Yes.
Wait, did I see it with you?
No, you saw with Matt.
Oh, yeah. We saw it at Alamo.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Kate loved it.
I can't remember anything.
No, it's okay. I have trouble remembering 2 weeks ago.
Alien Romulus. Well,
I'll jog your memory.
Yes.
You'll get it here in a second.
I'm not that old either. Yikes.
Alien Romulus, it's the latest installment in the Alien franchise, and it apparently takes place time-wise between the first Alien movie and the sequel Aliens, which I thought was pretty cool. The movie was directed by Fede Alvarez of Evil Dead and Don't Breathe fame. Love those movies. If you haven't seen them, please go check them out. So the film was written by Fede Alvarez, Rodo Sayagues, and Dan O'Bannon. The movie stars Kaylee Spaney, or is it Spaney? Do you know how to say it?
I want to say Spaney.
Okay, Kaylee Spaney, David Johnson, Archie Renault, Isabella Merced, Spike Fern, and Eileen Wu. The movie was released on August 16th, 2024, pretty recently, and was produced by 20th Century Studios, Scott Free Productions, and Brandywine Productions. The movie was distributed mainly by Walt Disney Studios. Alien Romulus is a new entry. Sorry.
It started to sound like a bedtime story.
This is yes. NPR. Alien Romulus is a new entry in the iconic Alien franchise set in a distant future where humanity has ventured far into deep space.
Oh, I'm starting to remember it now.
In the year 2142, a Weyland-Yutani space probe discovers the wreckage of the USCSS Nostromo, destroyed 2 decades earlier. The probe retrieves a large cocoon containing the xenomorph that terrorized the original crew and transports it to a secret research station. Months later, Rain Carradine, who works on the colony Jackson Star, finds herself caught in a dangerous expedition. Along with her ex-boyfriend Tyler, his sister Kay, cousin Bjorn, and her malfunctioning android brother Andy. That's such a weird sentence to say. Rain sets out to retrieve cryostasis chambers from a derelict Weyland-Yutani research station called Renaissance. Yeah, so as they explore the station, and then they find the face huggers, and then the xenomorph, and it's all a mess. And I say that in the best possible way. I really liked this. I thought it was really, really good. It did very well at the box office. I went to see it in IMAX with Spencer Regal,
that's right.
which was amazing and terrifying and very intense.
Mm-hmm.
I really loved the production design. I thought it was visually beautiful. I really liked that everything was sort of like orangey toned. The creatures and the practical effects are great, which, interesting to note, Fede Alvarez said like he uses practical effects whenever possible.
Yeah. Do you want to explain to people what that means?
Yeah, not basically like creating the monsters in this situation. Like the face huggers and the xenomorphs were real mechanical, or they were puppets.
As opposed to
CGI. Exactly. Thank you for clarifying, Kate.
Well, you did.
No, but asking to clarify.
Sure.
I like it. I thought the performances were amazing, particularly Kaylee Spaney and David Johnson as Andy the Synthetic. I thought he was
he was good. He was really good.
Yeah. And I wasn't ready for that surprise fourth act. Wasn't ready. We'll talk offline after this. Kate did see this movie.
I know I did. I definitely did. I remember parts of it.
I'm obsessed. The budget for this movie was an estimated $80 million, and its worldwide gross as of late is $342,473,729.
Well, it did okay.
It did pretty good, I'd say. After Disney acquired 21st Century Fox, Fox confirmed at 2019 CinemaCon that more Alien films were in development.
Oh.
So in March of 2022, it was announced that Fede would write and direct a 7th Alien movie based on his own pitch.
Okay.
To the studio. So the movie was originally slated to come out on Hulu.
As opposed to movie theaters?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Because this was being planned at a time when COVID was still pretty big. I mean,
Gotcha.
it was still raging, and they were like, well, we've made this switch to streaming. So a lot of the popular titles that were coming up at the time, they were kind of slating for streaming.
Sure.
But, as things progressed and as it started happening, they were like, oh, no. Theaters.
Yeah.
Back. Theaters are back. Ridley Scott, who helmed the first Alien movie, is credited as a producer on the film. And he's talked about speaking with Fede after the movie, like after seeing a screening of the movie.
Uh-huh.
And he said, Fede, what can I say? It's fucking great.
Oh, wow.
I know, from Ridley Scott.
That's cool.
Fede said he was like super nervous and terrified for
Yeah,
Ridley's reaction. Because like apparently, the source material that Ridley worked on, if you work on something that he's done, he's not easy on you. And he did give Fede some notes afterwards.
Okay.
But he wrote them down and handed them to him instead of like talking through them. He was like, it's too long. After seeing the director's cut.
Yeah.
But no, I loved that. And
Cool.
interestingly enough, the idea of an Alien film centering on younger characters was inspired by a deleted scene from Aliens
Oh, okay.
in 1986 that was later restored in the special edition. Fede Alvarez explained, there's a moment where you see a bunch of kids running around the corridors of this colony, and I thought, wow, what would it be like for those kids to grow up in a colony that still needs another 50 years to terraform? So I remember thinking, if I ever tell a story in that world, I would definitely be interested in those kids when they reach their early 20s.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. The movie was shot in chronological order. Director Fede Alvarez sought out the special effects crew from Aliens to work on the creatures. So he tapped the previous...
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that he's using the same crew.
Absolutely. That's what I love about him in kind of reboots is like he does it right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Physical sets, practical creatures, and miniatures were used wherever possible to help ground later VFX work. If it can be practical, it's going to be practical in his movies. There's a ton of callback to the original Alien franchise. I don't know anything about that because I'm not that hardcore of a fan, and if you are, that's amazing. Go read it and look up, and it wasn't connecting with me, so we're not going to talk about it. I was like, great, cool, look at all the connections. The movie got pretty good reviews with an 80% tomato meter and an 85% popcorn meter on Rotten Tomatoes.
Pretty good.
Johnny Olasinski of the New York Post writes, quote, Alvarez's gripping film, which is set in between the first two movies, goes back to the franchise's basics: isolation, paranoia, survival, tactical creatures. Instead of expounding upon extraterrestrial mythology that became increasingly unwieldy, confusing, and frankly beside the point. So he's like, this did pretty good.
Nice.
It's still in theaters. So
It is?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Because I feel like I watched it a while ago because I didn't even remember I watched it. Okay.
I would love this.
I blame the chicken tenders because I did have them that night.
Did you have them that night too?
And they were cold.
Kate, stop getting the chicken.
I guess. No, I had the grilled chicken club that night, and that's good. The grilled chicken club is good.
I've had that. I do like that.
Yeah.
Yes. Maybe the next time we get the chicken tenders, we put in a request that
Make
they're
them hot.
Yeah.
Cook them before you
Could
serve
you
them.
really juice those up?
Here's what's bullshit. So the other night when we went to Beetlejuice, I wanted the pretzel, but I wanted it with the Hatch green chili queso. Everyone listening's like, shut the fuck up.
No, I love it.
I wanted the Hatch green chili queso because
Yeah.
it's fucking delicious.
It's amazing.
But they serve it with a weird mustard and a weird cheese that I don't like. And so I asked her, I was like, hey, instead of that weird stuff, can I just get a side of the Hatch queso? She's like, let me see. And then she's gone for a while. She comes out. She's like, yeah, we don't do that. I'm like, I'll pay for it. I was like, can I just get some Hatch?
And they wouldn't give
queso?
it to you?
No.
That's weird.
Yeah. And she's like, do you still want the pretzel? And I said, no.
No. Bitch.
I love Alamo, but
We love Alamo.
It sounds like I hate it, but I really do like.
No, this is nitpick stuff that we're just
Yes,
like.
this is first world problems.
If you want to make it like top tier, heat the tenders.
I'm like, hey, this wonderful movie theater that I can recline in my seat and have food brought to me. Here's everything wrong with you. No, it's a great place, but
It is.
I would appreciate the food to be served hot.
I mean, I think we all just have the base expectation, right? Number 2. This movie is Longlegs.
Okay.
Number 2 is Longlegs. I know Matt didn't like it.
He said it's a good, bad movie.
Disagree. But I think it's a phenomenal movie.
Okay.
Longlegs was written and directed by Osgood Perkins, who was also known for directing The Black Coat's Daughter. Highly recommend.
Oh, I've seen that.
Love that. With Kiernan Shipka and Emma Roberts.
Mm-hmm.
And Kiernan Shipka makes a little cameo in this movie.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, it's not really a cameo. It's like a tiny little character.
Mm.
He also directed I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House,
Have
which is
not
on
seen
Netflix.
that.
It's good.
Okay.
Slow burn, but good.
Okay.
And he was an actor in Legally Blonde.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Who was
plays.
he?
Oh, I forget the character's name, but you know that part where Elle's walking back to campus and his character is standing there with those 2 girls.
Yes.
And they're like, why would we go out with you?
Yes, I know exactly who you're talking
That's
about.
Osgood
Okay.
Perkins. And he's the son of famed psycho horror actor Anthony
I was
Perkins.
gonna ask. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Who played Norman Bates in the Alfred Hitchcock classic. So the film stars Micah Monroe, Nicolas Cage, Blair Underwood, and Alicia Witt. Longlegs has a number of production companies and distributors, but it was Neon that snatched it up.
Okay.
And they were also behind the insane initial marketing around the movie, which really drummed up a ton of hype around it.
Mm-hmm.
I personally tried to stay away from watching a lot of the discussion on social media.
Sure.
I saw all the trailers, which I thought were really cool, but I didn't want to. I wanted to go in as blind as I could, or as blind
I'm
as
like
they
that
wanted
with pretty
me
much
to.
every movie. I don't want to know everything about
Yeah,
it.
trailers give way too
They
much away.
really do. I feel like I've seen the movie after I've seen the
I
trailer
know,
for a lot of them.
And I'm going to bring up a movie real quick because you're reminding me, but it's with James McAvoy called Speak No Evil that just came out. That trailer gives you the entire movie.
Okay.
You don't need to see it if you've seen the trailer.
Yeah.
Also,
Did you see the movie?
I refuse.
Well, because my neighbor saw it and he said it is not what I expected.
Sure. And that's good, but I think they already it's a Danish movie.
I do
Speak
want
No
to see
Evil.
it. I do want to see it. I know you told me about that.
And the Danish version, I don't know. I don't want to give anything away.
Sure.
But there apparently are 2 very different endings.
Okay.
And from what I've heard, I prefer the Danish ending.
Okay.
That's all I'll say.
Got it.
If you have opinions about this, please let me know, because I'm refusing to see the James McAvoy version, because I think I really loved the Danish version so much that I'm like, why the fuck are you remaking this? Which is what America does all the fucking time.
I feel like everything's a remake now.
Yeah, Osgood Perkins said that he didn't want the image of Nicolas Cage as Longlegs on the posters. It was meant to be a surprise for the movie. And that's what I was trying to stay away from, was seeing Nicolas Cage. One of the billboards had a phone number where you could call to listen to hear a special message. So I'm going to play that for you now, Kate.
Yes.
There she is. What's your name, little angel? Nice to meet you. Oh. I'll be waiting.
Well, that was fucking terrifying. I loved it.
I know, right? So cool. Yeah, very cool marketing tactics this movie did, which I
Yeah.
think contributed to its success. So let's talk about it.
Great.
It's a suspenseful crime thriller centered around FBI agent Lee Harker, played by Micah Monroe, who I love. You and I watched something with her recently,
Yeah.
and it wasn't great, but I don't think that was her. I think that was whatever that series
yeah.
was. So Lee Harker, she's assigned to investigate a series of disturbing and ritualistic murders. The killings are tied to a mysterious serial killer known as Longlegs. So as Harker delves deeper into the case, she uncovers unsettling connections between the murders and the potential of supernatural forces. Her investigation reveals that the killer's motives may extend far beyond mere violence. Harker's pursuit of the truth forces her to confront her own fears and traumas in this web of like occult rituals and ritualistic psychological terror. And the deeper she digs, the more personal the case becomes. Longlegs successfully blends crime procedural with supernatural horror, which is very cool to me, delivering a tense atmospheric narrative where the lines between reality and the supernatural blur, leading to crazy shit.
I will say, Matt said, if I do see it, it'll be a good time.
Oh, it's a great time.
I know you loved it.
Yeah, I will say this is very similar in tone and imagery to The Silence of the Lambs,
Okay.
Zodiac, and Seven, for sure.
Okay.
I loved everything about this movie, and it definitely wasn't what I expected, but how could it be? Because I didn't have an idea of what it would be going into it, which I did love.
Yeah.
But the opening scene of this movie is like, what the fuck? It's great.
Okay.
It's so good. I love the tone, the dark, creepy, eerie, almost bizarre like soundscape. The performances.
Oh,
I wrote
my.
performances in big. Micah Monroe, horror queen, if you've seen It Follows, and Nicolas Cage, who's unhinged in a spectacular way, as you just heard.
I love Nicolas
I
Cage.
love Nicolas
I
Cage.
think he is so fun to watch.
Yes. He does so much stuff. I don't know if I put this in here. Well, I'll get to it, and if I don't, remind me Nick Cage sound
When am I supposed to remind you of that?
before I move on to the next movie.
Oh, okay.
The story is crazy. I love where they take it. It feels very unexpected. It's a really greatly laid out. I wasn't bored at any point. It was
Okay.
one of those like, what's going to happen next type movies. The character of Longlegs is so crazy interesting to me. I almost want a prequel of like his life because you get an idea of who he is through his surroundings and how he acts. Not necessarily, it's not spoon-fed to you. Nothing's really spoon-fed to you in this movie, which I like.
Yeah.
Many of Longlegs' encrypted messages contain misspellings and poor grammar after being decoded, and this is a homage to the Zodiac Killer, who was also known for his coded messages containing typos, which made it difficult to understand what he really meant. During an interview, Osgood Perkins recalled a story from production, it's in here, where he learned Nicolas Cage has a particular skill that no other actor possesses, the ability to recognize how high or low he is able to speak without messing up the audio.
What?
So according to Perkins, the sound guy came over to me one day. He comes up to me a couple of days into Nick being on set, and he's like, Oz, I've never seen anything like it. When Nick is mic'd, I'm watching the dials. When Nick goes big, he goes right to the line. Anything more, a decibel or two over that, we couldn't use.
Yeah.
Then he goes down, he goes soft and is whispering and he's barely talking and he goes right to the line.
Yep. That's cool.
Anything past that line you wouldn't be able to use. He knows where the lines are. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life.
That is a very useful skill. If
Yeah.
an actor can do that, which, I mean, most can't.
No, can't, yeah.
Because most aren't thinking about that.
No, most aren't thinking about it, right.
And the more as an actor you can think about how what you do is affecting everyone on the crew and what they have to do,
Right.
that's only going to make you as the performer that much better.
So yeah, I thought that was a really cool thing. The film has grossed over $108 million worldwide. It's the highest grossing movie for Neon after Parasite.
I loved Parasite.
Yeah.
I loved
Parasite was
Parasite.
amazing. But yeah, this movie is their highest grossing and it beat out Parasite. The movie is very popular with an 85% tomato meter and 60% popcorn meter on Rotten Tomatoes.
Rotten Tomatoes.
Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah, critics really love this. Sarah Michelle Fetters said for MovieFreak.com, Perkins twists the knife in elegantly troubling ways. There were multiple instances where I knew exactly what was about to happen and I was still jolted out of my seat as if I just felt an electrical shock. The director used my own knowledge of genre convention against me, and it is clear that Perkins wants to toy with this film's viewers the same way his clever, brutally pitiless serial killer antagonist treats their victims.
Okay.
Jen Yamoto from The Washington Post writes, nerve-jangling and devilishly bleak, Longlegs is easily the frontrunner for scariest movie of 2024. Set during the drab 1990s of Clinton-era America, the latest offering from writer-director Osgood Oz Perkins throbs with a bone-chilling sense of dread, a marvelous piece of supernatural horror wearing the skin of a serial killer thriller that weaves a lasting, sinister spell.
Okay.
That sounded like a poem, Jen.
People are digging it.
You can rent Longlegs on Amazon Prime right now for $19.99.
You can rent it for $19.99?
Yeah.
Amazon, that is expensive.
I saw it at the Alamo Draft House with my friend Brittany.
Nice.
That's what I ended.
I'm trying to say nice that way every single time you say you saw it with someone else.
I'm obsessed. Okay, I've been mentioning this movie to you for like the past 2 weeks.
You sure have.
Yeah, and I texted you yesterday that it took the #1 spot.
You did, and I was like, whoa.
It hit Shudder literally this past Friday, and I made a very direct effort to sit down in my room and watch it on Friday night with my LED light. I have a lamp with an LED light that you can change the color of.
Ooh.
So I changed it to red.
Okay,
Yeah.
setting the
scene, and I opened up the window. It was the windy night. This movie is called Oddity.
I do want to see this.
It's good. Oddity is a Irish horror movie written and directed by Damien McCarthy and starring Carolyn Bracken, Steve Wall, Gwilym Lee, Tig Murphy, and Caroline Menton. McCarthy is most well known for his recent horror movie Caveat. And there's a callback to that movie in the beginning of this one.
Okay.
I love it. I don't want to spoil that, but you'll immediately recognize it if you've seen Caveat or even seen the poster for the movie.
Okay.
You'll know what it is.
I've never even heard of that.
Caveat?
Yeah.
It's a really good movie that didn't get a lot of...
Okay.
I think now that this movie came out, a lot of the reviews I was reading, they went back and watched Caveat or they became familiar with it and they're like, oh, this is great.
Gotcha.
And it came out on Shudder a few years ago and I watched it and was like, yeah, I love it. The movie was acquired in February 2024 by Bluefinch Films for international distribution and started to make its way through the film festival circuit, premiering at South by Southwest in March this year. It started picking up some praise and awards early on. The movie is produced by Keeper Pictures, Nowhere, and Shudder, and eventually got a U.S. release date in theaters after being distributed by IFC Films.
Okay.
It just hit the Shudder streaming platform. So let's talk about what it's about. In Oddity, Darcy Odello, a blind clairvoyant, inherits her late mother's curio shop, an eerie cabinet of curiosities filled with strange artifacts. I like these hard CTs.
Never in my life have I ever heard anyone say that.
So, still haunted by the brutal murder of her twin sister Danny a year earlier, Darcy struggles to move on. It's alluded to early on in the movie that she needs some kind of medical attention.
Okay.
Because she apparently has had brain cancer and people are very skeptical about her powers.
Okay.
As people are with psychics and clairvoyants.
Sure.
She can sense or see things by touching them. One day, she gets a large crate at the shop containing a life-size wooden mannequin that once belonged to her mother. Darcy is visited by Ted, who's Danny's widowed husband.
Okay.
Her sister's widowed husband, who has since moved into the secluded country house where his wife was murdered.
Ooh. I would not want to be living in the house where my
they buy
spouse
this
was
really
murdered.
big, beautiful old country house, and like that's where his wife gets murdered to begin with.
Okay.
It's scary. Ted's a doctor at a mental institution.
Ooh.
But now, at this time a year later, he has a new girlfriend, Yana, who is a pharmaceutical rep at the hospital he works at.
Okay.
Shortly after Ted's visit, Darcy decides to pay them an unexpected visit, bringing the mannequin along.
I feel like leave the life-size mannequin at home.
Well, strange things begin to happen in the house.
As they would if you brought in a life-size mannequin.
But even strange things were happening at the house prior to even Danny getting murdered.
Okay.
So there's a whole bunch going on
Got
here,
it.
and I love it. Darcy's psychic powers lead her to shocking revelations about who was responsible for her sister's death. The movie will tell you, so go see it.
Okay.
I just watched this, and it's amazingly creepy. Things to touch on, amazing jump scares, very well earned.
Oh, good.
Eerie atmosphere out there in the
Nice.
dark, in the night. House on Haunted Hill girlies. Anyway, it feels like a well thought out and very tight story to me. It's kind of a slow burn that builds up suspense, but it doesn't ever feel boring.
Okay.
It didn't to me, at least. Public reaction to this movie has been increasingly good. It's certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes with a 95% tomato meter and
Wow.
77% popcorn meter. Critics are generally liking this movie, and so are horror lovers. Sheila O'Malley from RogerEbert.com had this to say about the movie. Quote, "We might know how things will play out. I won't say more than this. The final frame is so perfect, it exceeds expectations.
Ooh.
The moment is a callback, but it's also a glimpse of the future. It makes me wish I had seen Oddity in a packed midnight show. show. McCarthy does the hardest thing of all. He sticks the landing.
Ooh,
I got chills
awesome.
saying that because that
I
last
did
frame
too.
is like,
Say no more. I'm excited. I do want to see this. Do you think people should see Caveat first?
no, I don't think so. You don't
Okay.
need to see Caveat to have seen it. The movies are different.
Okay.
Same sort of themes,
Sure.
but the only thing is like if you have seen Caveat, you'll know the callback to it in the
Okay.
movie because it's in the oddity store. In her
Okay.
store, which is cool.
Got it.
So, according to box office stats on IMDb, the movie has grossed over 1,300,000 worldwide since being picked up. There's a short film titled How Olin Lost His Eye in 2009, which features Olin as a central character. There is a character in this movie called Olin Boole,
Okay.
and he does have a missing eye. So watching this film provides insight into that character, which is resolved in this movie, which is cool.
Oh, okay.
It's part of Damien's collection of short films, all set within the same universe.
Got it.
Oddity is currently streaming on Shudder and AMC Plus, and it's available to rent on Amazon Prime for $3.99
Oh.
at the time of this recording.
Okay, I can handle $3.99, and
Yeah.
I think that sounds like a fun date night for Matt and I. I think maybe we'll do that.
Yeah, check it out. I just want to give some honorable mentions that almost made the cut but didn't. Lisa Frankenstein.
I still need to see that, and I'm dying to see it
It's
because I
so
really
good.
like that actress.
Catherine Newton. She's
Yes.
amazing. Abigail.
Loved it.
Loved Abigail. And then Stop Motion, which is another one on Shudder.
Oh, I haven't heard of that.
Yeah. Honorable mentions that didn't fully slot into the horror genre and weren't marketed correctly, in my opinion, were that I saw that I liked was The Front Room with
Okay.
Brandy and Catherine Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw The TV Glow, which Kate did not like. I loved.
I turned it off.
I know. And then Strange Darling was another one that I really liked
Mm.
that I don't think is like, I mean, it is in that genre, but it's more like a action thriller.
Okay.
So yeah, these are just my opinion. If you don't agree, that's totally fine. Be mad, come for me, and tell me why and what you loved this year.
Yes, let us know what movies were your favorites from the year, what horror movies, or what horror movies you're excited to see. That was a great episode to get us excited for spooky season, get us into October, and you can let us know your movie recommendations on Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, or YouTube at
Horrorwood Podcast.
Or you can send us an email at
horrorwoodpodcast@gmail.com.
And speaking of email, if you have a spooky story of your own, doesn't have to be entertainment related, it's just like about you or something you experienced, go ahead and send it in because we're going to read it on the air
read 'em.
at some point.
Mhm.
And you can also jump on over to Patreon like our friends Mark, Matt, Drunk Wives Matter, and Alice did at
Horrorwood Podcast. Patreon.com/Horrorwood Podcast.
Have a great spooky season start, everybody.
October 1st. The ghosts are here.
Woo!